What I want for Star Trek Day. Number 274, whoa, of Trekland Tuesdays, live right here with Dr. Trek Larry Nemecek coming at you from the heart of Trekland, wherever we may be. And we're on the road for some clarity, sanity, and the big picture in all things Star Trek. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, and I am still on the road. So put up with my fadey wadies here. How are you all doing? How are you up for another Tuesday? Because it's the Tuesday, yes, it's the Tuesday of Star Trek week. And hey, if you are watching me later on YouTube, try to catch us live some Tuesday because we're having a lot of fun here. A lot of fun. Yes, I'm on the road. I'm a little bit off put, but we're here because I'm excited. It's been a whole week now since Star Trek Las Vegas. This week, the news is all about Star Trek Day. Yes, Thursday is Star Trek Day. And if you don't know, that's the anniversary of the first showing of the first episode of Star Trek. It's been used as, it's amazing the growth of this. The current corporate climate here, of course, there was nothing for the 12 years after Enterprise went down. There's been a long whole history of even like noticing anniversaries. And it took 10 years before the corporation even started thinking about every 5 years would be something fun to mark. So yeah, that started up at about Star Trek 20, the 20th anniversary in 86, because suddenly everything was blooming again with the new series, with Star Trek 4 being such a hit, and Paramount thinking, oh, maybe we should mark this. You know, to be fair, it was also a revolution in just the way all marketing and licensing had been done. I mean, Star Wars had been out for 10 years, but it took Star Trek a while to catch up. The conflux, the great critical mass of Star Trek 4 being such a hit, celebrating the original series being a global hit, and then announcing finally that there'd be a return to Star Trek on small screen TV. That seemed like a good confluence to come up and actually like design a 20th anniversary logo. Simple though it was. But you can bet though that 10 years before, Gene and Majel had been in there pitching with the Star Trek Tennial on the 10-year anniversary, in line with everybody being celebrating or sick of celebrating the bicentennial of the U.S. in 1976. So yeah, anniversaries have been a thing, but for a long time, September 8th, we just said, hey, happy Star Trek birthday. Happy birthday, Star Trek. Happy, you know, it was a thing it was very inside, hush, hush, chic, chic. Surely wasn't broadly marketed, and only the hardcore, but then, you know, only the hardcore everything Star Trek were doing anything. It was, you were still in the closet. What, you're going to run Super Bowl commercials for Star Trek? No, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, the evolution of what this day has kind of followed where we were in the culture. Have the geeks won yet? No, not quite. Are you still just showing up at your club meetings? And just telling each other happy Star Trek anniversary. Marking the 5th and the 10th anniversary was a big deal back then. But something happened, before they'd even aired, seeing the entire 82-member cast of the pilot and first 3 episodes of Discovery in 2017, coming later in September, watching that commercial fly by, just that square for Instagram, of every cast member saying, happy Star Trek Day, happy Star Trek Day. And I remember thinking, oh, so now it's not Star Trek birthday, it's not Star Trek anniversary, it's just Star Trek Day. Ooh, we've arrived. You get to shorten whatever the thing is to just day. Yay. And that's where it's been. And of course, yes, there was a launch. It starts with social media campaigns. The big plans for an event got waylaid by COVID, divided up between the coasts. Still, last year was going to be the first big, huge event, and then COVID, the return of COVID part 2, sidelined that, and there was a small in-person, what were we, 100 people, something, but global streaming. I've just been, but the intent was good. The year before that, the first year pandemic, it was a day, I should say, a day of really good virtual panels, because, people catch on quick, and the joke progressive or Silent Life sketch of a Zoom meeting, do you remember this? From March and April? By September was old news. So yes, the world was geared up for virtual streaming the way we had been doing for 5 years. By that fall, and the first Star Trek Day was really a day of virtual panels. So it goes hybrid for 2021, hopefully with the live, but still live and streaming, and some attached like the red carpet interviews. The live event, the swag bags, there have been people watching around the world. But what's interesting, though, is look at this week, and we're going to talk about this week's program. But this week, I saw someone the other day said, oh, they're starting at noon Pacific. Didn't the first one start at 5? Well, guess what's happened? Powers that be at Paramount and all things marketing and socials, someone realized that you could include Europe if you went midday in the US. What a concept. If only I'd been, oh, wait, I have been. We've been doing that for everything I do in Trekland. If it's live, I try to do, for the most part, if I can, in the midday to include the Europeans. Now, sometimes we have evening events, obviously. But if it's an open book, and the way we did Live Support Live with Dr. Ali, tried to make it in the middle of the day so we could have the Europeans. Now, I saw they specifically listed noon Pacific, 8 British summertime. Excuse me, gang. I did not see a time listed for Central European. Does that mean all you, and some of you in the chat, I know will be popping up. Does that mean that there's still some geo-blocking going and Europe won't be able, or parts of Europe won't be able to see the events? Well, I hope not. Yes. Let's have it at noon California time so that Europe can be in on it. And actually, if you're watching, a lot of East Asia, a lot of parts of Asia would get it in the morning, Thursday morning. So, step forward. We're stepping into what tried to be last year, and now it is. And it's a full day. And yes, let me just say, we all know what was yesterday's cute little insidious trivia question is now widely known. 2 days before the hallowed September 8th date in 1966 of the NBC, NBC, the network that made it, the NBC early sneak peek fall premiere week showing of The Man Trap on December at what, 8 o'clock? 7 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock, whatever it was. On September 8th, Thursday, September 8th, yes, we know that. In Canada, on the CBC, it was actually shown 2 days before that. So The Man Trap and all things Star Trek actually hit a broad audience on September 6th, 1966. But you can't go with 666, so that's a little squeamish. So we're going to, Canada, we're going to let you have the asterisk. And we're going to keep September 8th here because it's the day that's always been celebrated, as long as people have been celebrating a day. But this Thursday is going to be awesome. In case you haven't heard, there's 5 Star Treks on the air now. They're all coming and going. You're going to be able to find this on, on the Star Trek, on the Paramount Plus and the Paramount YouTubes and everything. But it does kick off at noon. Now, there's panels. There's a set programming. But they've also got their attempt at trying to be global beyond just the virtual streaming. There are, before we get to the panels, actually, to Wednesday and Thursday, there are augmented reality Delta portrait stands in LA, Chicago, and New York. You gotta look up the details of where to go. But each location, there are 3 Star Trek Deltas. Each one is 7 foot tall, like the icons like we have at Vegas. And they all have QR codes that when you scan them on Instagram, you can transform the object into a mixed reality portal that will bring you into the world of Star Trek. So basically, you'll come away with a little photo op, augmented reality bit, which is very cool. It's it's not worldwide global where you are. We're not beaming you into something everywhere, but they've at least tried to get it out and around a little bit. It's at the Grove in Los Angeles, at Hudson Yards in New York, and Water Tower Place in Chicago, just so you know. Oh, pardon-moi, it's also at the Science Museum in London. It's at the Shopping Cidades in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And yes, the Brazil dates are Thursday and Friday. And it's at Federation Square in Melbourne, Australia. So we are global with the augment. Good on Star Trek. They've really been busting it open here as the cessation of the pandemic has been letting them do it. So there is a 6-way attempt there going global around the world. Now you can live stream the regular program starting at noon on their Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on TikTok. Isn't that a little long for 4,700 little 30-second segments on TikTok, I guess. I don't know. I hope each one has a clever punchline to end with. That'll be interesting. They're going to pick out a fan to be made up into a Star Trek alien, put on your best face. They're going to do a cosplay runway locally, which I guess is in LA. Maybe there's a remote somewhere else. We'll see. But remotely, while this is going on in LA, Wilson Cruz is going to give a set tour from Toronto where they're filming Discovery. There's the thing. Discovery's hard at it right now. So no one is away. And there is no set Discovery conversation. So Wilson's going to jump in there with a set tour to fill in for the lack of a Discovery thing. There'll be a Nichelle Nichols tribute. And then the four, Jackie Cox from RuPaul's Drag Race, who was a hit in Chicago at Mission Chicago, and Mary Chieffo, yay, Mary the Chief, will be back. Laurel will be interviewing cast members from past to present on the red carpet. All the live guests who were there in LA at the Skirball Center across town. Here's the deal. Somewhere between me being away from home and Janet's surgery bubble, I actually had to not RSVP. I will not be there live. So I will be watching remotely like all of you. So I can't wait to see how it comes. I'll be having that experience this year. Same as it was 2 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. When I still remember the Strange New Worlds panel when we got introduced to most of the writing staff. And I realized that Star Trek Strange New Worlds was in really good hands because most of the writing staff who were on the panel were really emotional about being there. And I think the proof's been in the pudding or on the screen. Check your tortured metaphor. So yeah, we've got a Picard panel with Jerry and Michelle, Jerry Ryan and Michelle Hurd. Lower Decks with Tawny Newsome, of course, who's Mariner. Noelle Wells, who's Tendi, and Don Lewis, who's Captain Freeman. Prodigy will have Brett Gray, who's Dahl, and Kate Mulgrew. Mm-hmm. And Strange New Worlds will have a huge lineup. They've got Rebecca Romaine, Jess Bush, Christina Chong, Celia Rose Gooding, Melissa Navia, and Babs Olusomuka. It's gonna take me a while to get it spelled right, but I'm always gonna make the effort. Pronounced right. So good focus on the non-Anson cast. That Anson gets too much attention anyway. Good on him. That's a huge cast. That's a huge lineup. It starts at noon Pacific. I'm looking for how long. It's at least 3 hours. I know it's going to take a while to get through all of this. So yeah, my question today it's might as well treat Star Trek Day like a holiday. I don't know. Do you have a list? Do you have your Star Trek Day gift list? What do I want for Star Trek Day? Well, first of all, for Star Trek Day, I want dates. I want to know what's up next. What is up next? Well, Discovery is in the middle of, it's not going to be Discovery. What would it be? What would it be? It would seem to be maybe Picard. But Picard was the last live action down. Did we do that? No, I'm sorry. Strange New Worlds obviously was. So it's not Strange New Worlds. Is Strange New going to bump to next year? What's going to happen? I want dates. We've got Lower Decks going, yay. Can we please have the dates for Prodigy? Maybe Prodigy would finally have its breakout. Why? I really don't like feeling like I'm doing deja vu with Fox handling Firefly again when I watch how poor Prodigy's being handled. I mean, I think Kate, all that cast, Cadet Alice, they all deserve better than to have the poor show strung out. There's no need for it. There's no production need for it now. They've completed at Star Trek Mission in April. Aaron and Kevin Hageman told me that they had, was it Dan? I think it was Dan. Told me that they had just finished writing the 40th, i.e., the end of another season batch. So, okay, maybe they're the end of that, but surely they've got more than 10 ready to go. Another 10 should be ready to go by now. Can we please just have an uninterrupted? And maybe the world will continue to find out. This started to happen, and then it immediately went away when they stopped running the new episodes. But there were a lot more adults watching Prodigy than adults with kids. I'm going to tell you, because there were some intriguing plot points once you brought in not only the real Janeway, but the mystery of Chakotay, his crew, and some of the other species. They were just laying it out there with Star Trek canon and background and a lot of fun points, and the mystery on 3 or 4 levels of what the hell was going on. And how did some Alpha Quadrant people wind up in the Delta Quadrant only 3 or 4 years after Voyager's return? All that said, there are a Cation. What's the little Cation baby? I just keep wondering about that Cation kid. Yeah, my gift list. What I want for Star Trek Day is a firm day to roll out the rest of Prodigy, for starters. And then, I could help not but notice that the Picard panel was Jerry and Michelle. Not the TNG cast, the Ballyhooed reunion bunch. Of course, they've done this a million times, conventions. Live action with a virtual panel going on is, well, I mean, they've lived through the pandemic, I know. But Jerry and Michelle, could there be some announcement sometime in the day of what's going to take the Picard slot in the Ballyhooed Star Trek 5, so that we get 10 episodes apiece, 5 seasons? That's series. That's 50 episodes. That's almost Fresh Trek a year, every week for a year. What is going to be the next show? There's the Ballyhooed 2 floating out there. People say, oh, it's Section 91. It's the Academy show. Maybe not so sure. Maybe they're still in the cards, but maybe they're not next up. I mean, and if we wanted to, somebody wants to get off on the stodginess of CBS and Paramount, I look no further than how fast they reacted to the public demand, nay, the tsunami, demanding an Anson Mount and a Strange New Worlds, demanding a Captain Pike show. That didn't take long to put together. So might we see something arising out of public demand? I don't know. Now, the stage hosts are going to be Tawny Newsom, and Paul F. Tompkins, who's her partner in crime. Often, he's a voice on he's voices on Lower Decks. They're going to be apparently the stage hosts. So we will see. It is 2 hours, guys. It is 2 hours of the live stream panels and some of these sidebars. So noon to 2, that's 8 to 10 in the UK. What will get packed? What will be packed into those 4 hours? Basically, that means 30 minutes for a panel. When you've got 2 folks, when you've got 2 at a time, that's going to be still pretty wide open. Lower Decks. Are we going to get more information about the strange new crossover, or will that wait for Strange New Worlds? I don't know. Prodigy deserves its time. Strange New Worlds, they are hard at it. Basically finished on season 2, and they're at it for season 3. Harry Alonzo Myers has talked about they've been writing on 3, if not back at it. So dates, gang. But what about plot points? Now, famously, Jonathan showed up at STLV, which is no longer licensed. It's cooperative, it's in alliance, but it's no longer fully licensed. So all the bells and whistles, the cherry on top, things like the exhibits and the authorization for the big giveaways, spoilers. Well, that's pretty much now down for. Convention-wise is down for the missions, right? So next year it's Mission Chicago or Mission Seattle over Memorial Day weekend. But of course, Paramount wants to compete with everybody else at San Diego. So yeah, we got some headlines at San Diego. And Star Trek Day is their one. It's like celebration. It's like no, that's like mission. Star Trek Day is like May the 4th. It's Star Trek's own little gift into it that it can control. It doesn't need the overhead of a convention, although there's a nice live event going on, but it's nothing like staging a convention through a vendor, through a third party, and it's nothing like having to go down and deal with a huge event like Comic-Con. So they can be very compact about rolling out the goodies, and it's at a different point in time in the year. So now you've got a spring, you've got a summer, and you've got an early fall. What are going to be the headlines that they release here? Will it be the show that takes Picard's place? That would be on my list. Will it somehow involve Seven and Raffi? I don't know. We'll have to see what Jerry and Michelle tell us. All the shows are hitting on such cylinders right now. Here's the thing. The one show that has been largely quiet in all this, and I'm just going to say this, and I do it too. People are so excited or defensive or eager to see what's going on with the last season of Picard, its replacement, Lower Decks, oh my gosh, Prodigy, give it a chance, get hooked, and yeah, Strange New Worlds. What always gets left out of the conversation, at least in many circles? Well, yeah, Discovery, the big brother of the bunch, the old man on the lot. And a lot of people would say, well, I kid about Discovery being a different show every season. And it's up there in Toronto, where it's not really, it's not very LA centric. Even Strange New Worlds feels more LA centric, and it's in Toronto. But that's just because it's new and fresh, and maybe when they're 5 years old, they'll look old and tired too. I'm kidding. Because here's what I'm hearing from folks that work on Discovery. Discovery is that this season, for the 5th season, they're just going balls to the wall. That they are just going all out. It's going to be a huge, I've heard people just excited, I don't say exhausted, but really working hard on what the 5th season is going to be. Now, I don't think anybody sloughs off any season of television, much less a Star Trek. So they've all been hardworking crews and hardworking years, but I'm just hearing people say that this year is going to be like no other. Haha. So in a way, it's interesting that they're working so hard that there is no dedicated panel. But of the 5 shows, it's the one that's actively going right now. It's the one that might benefit the most from a set tour live with, all the set crew junk laying around. I hope they don't pretty up the sets too much. I'd really love to see it be a working set. So I don't know. What about you? We've got the chat going here. What are you curious about? Now, everyone's got their favorites. I think, are we finally getting to the point where it's okay to have a favorite and a not so favorite? I mean, are we finally dealing with the chunk of online fandom, much less fake online fandom that's going to, troll about everything? What do you think? Has the percentage of that gone? I keep thinking in the last year or so that the percentage of just the outright trolls has really, really been on the decline. And I don't think it's because Star Trek has gone off the Doomsday Machine's, perimeter alert. I think Star Trek's been very much in our mindset, and we've had great shows. In fact, I'm gonna talk about that in a second. In fact, why don't I talk about that now? The Parrot Analytics is a company that tried to get a handle on measuring TV show popularity without using the Nielsen's, which are out in public because they help set ad rates, so everything is very transparent. But of course, there are no ads or supposed to not be ads on the digital channels. Something was needed to be decided. So since 2017, we've been following the Parrot Analytics weekly ratings, highs and lows for Star Trek in or out. And of course, things are always hotter when there's fresh episodes. They're basically measuring with a lot of math and a lot of algorithmic magic. They're still measuring basically the online buzz of a show, pulling in from whatever they can in real life. And we've been following that for so long. But here's the thing. They supply an awful lot of data to an awful lot of networks and studios. And they don't just do the US. We track. After the break, I'll get back to the top 10 this week. And yes, there was a top 10 list. Global demand, the most, as they put it, the most in demand sci-fi streaming original series. And for the first quarter, this is the US only. In the first quarter, it was Mandalorian. The first quarter, January, February, March. Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Stranger Things, The Expanse, and then Picard. Which started late in the quarter. It was 4th. We're talking 40 times more popular than the average show as they measure. Then 37, 35, 23, and 21, with Discovery right behind Picard, 21 and 20. And then a big drop down to station 11 at 15 times. So that was first quarter 2022. Second quarter, just to catch up on this is second quarter global. Second quarter global, which would be April, May, June. Obi-Wan, 75 times more popular than an average show. This is global. Spy X Family, Ms. Marvel and Strange New Worlds was the fourth. Yes, I say that again, was the fourth most in-demand show, the fourth most talked about online show in the world. And they measure dozens of countries. Yeah, the US is the biggest single market. And then there's UK and Germany and Australia and all that, and Canada, all the rest down. But India, China, everything is in here. The small countries, the large. Strange New Worlds at 40 times the popularity of an average show worldwide. And these are not just, as you could tell, these are not just sci-fi. These are the premieres for 30 days after their premiere in that quarter. And there was some buzz about this, but it was right ahead of Tokyo Vice, 40.4 to 40.1. So Star Trek and Star Trek globally is no slouch there, at least as far as the parrots measure it. So we are here. The news of what will follow will be really interesting. What do you think? What's on your gift list for Star Trek Day? Is it like a holiday to you? I mean, it's only going to be 2 hours virtual here, but it'll be right in the middle of the day. I'm happy, and I hope people are taking note. This is the first time that it's been global. I mean, it's not just the shift in time, it's the actual recognition that they need to do this. And, maybe this is mending fences for some of the debacles of the last year in the rough rollout here when someone didn't quite have as global an attitude, or they put the priority of getting things done biggest, fastest, quickest over having things rolled out the smoothest and the most consistently. Whether those are just unavoidable lessons of an expansion time, or whether those are lessons that have been learned and will be applied indifferently the next time there is a hiccup in process, we'll have to see. So I'm curious to see how many of you have checked it out, how many of our Europeans will be able to see Star Trek Day on Thursday. And yes, some of the global markets, it will be into, Australia will be into, Friday morning. So we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see about how these pop-ups look, how these virtual deltas look. I'm excited for all of our Patreons, I should say.
Diana Hopkins, Robin Wilson, Lawrence Todd, Anne-Marie Siegel, Keith Rombach, Justin Porteous, Blaze K, Nathaniel Robinson, Andrew Jasimski, and Pranakasha Productions. Our live wires, Rusty Harold, Halbert Gunn Johnson, Robert McLean, Alan Hoensi, J.R. Poole, Byron Bailey, David Gregory, Gay Clevin Lundstrom, and Casey Shafsky. I've got a Patreon, patreon.com/TreklandLive. Very simple, $5 and $10 a month.
If you want to come support the streaming that we're doing here at Trekland, it's the Trekland way. It's not the same old you get everywhere else on the internet, thank goodness. If somebody else is going to repeat a headline 15 times, I'll let them. And maybe on the 16th time, I'll find the angle everyone else is missing. It's really not that hard when you've been around Trekland as long as I have. Also, though, the big news, boy, is that the Trek Files is back for season 9. It is so special. We recorded live episodes at STLV. Up right now as we speak. The season premiere of season 9 is up with none other than Andy Richardson Kindred, I should say, Andrea. She went by Andy in the 60s when she was Gene Coon's executive assistant. She has a book coming, her memoir. She sold a special memoir edition at STLV, but I've got her back here. We had her live in LA 5 years ago. Couldn't get her on stage at Vegas. We got her on stage at Vegas. We have the hour there. We've got these 2 hours. I've got the things we recorded a few years ago. She lives in Australia. That's why she is a stranger to the con circuit, the American con circuit anyway. But she has a life so far beyond her 2 years on Star Trek that her distant relatives, her distant family history is amazing. Her own life, and she's 83 now. She is a force of nature. I can't wait for you to go over. We're going to have some special video of this one too, because we recorded it live, which was awesome on so many levels. Number one, you get to see me and the guest going at it live. Number two, we set it up like an old-time radio show so that John Champion is doing his voiceover, and the lovely and talented Jessica Lynn Verity does her sultry femme fatale intro live. So that was a lot of fun to finally get to do that and then have Andy on with us. So you want to check that out. As always, the whole back catalog is still there too, but I'm so glad to be back for season 9 and those 2 special episodes, this one and then coming up very soon. Yay! Also, want to remind you that we're into the build-up year. Next July, Terrace Cassidy at Geek Nation Tours and I are going to be offering the big tour we have not done since 2016. It's going to be 10 days. It's going to be more celebrity filled of location sites around not just Los Angeles, but San Francisco as well. We're calling it the West Coast Away Mission from GNT. I'll be leading it. It's maxed at 18 people. So it's going to be small, intimate. We do not overflow a bus. We don't go to 2 or 3 buses with mic'd in, narration and experience. So we need 10 to make, but we max at 18. So you've got plenty of time to save your pennies. That's coming up. I'm going to be offering cruise adjacent tours in February when the official cruise takes off from LA, at least the day before and the day after. And as always, I'm always open now that we're reopened to offering our Trekland Treks day tour, the ones that you customize for yourself, for you and your group. Your group could be up to 8, 10, 12 people. We could do a minibus. Normally it's 1, 2, 3 people. I love doing that, just driving around, leading you from your hotel room to hotel room. That's all there at LarryNemecek.com too. You can check it out, or go to TreklandTreks.com as well. You just want to know about the big tour coming next July. It's standalone. It doesn't lead into any convention. That's a new thing as well. So much new happening that we are so ready to overdo and roll out these experiences for everybody. I'm going to be watching Star Trek Day along with you remotely, virtually, enjoying seeing how Paramount pulls this off. Wishing for next year, and I will be back there live. After another year of apparently 50 of 52 weeks of straight Star Trek, however it comes down the pike. Anyway, it's great to be here with you too. Again, if you're watching us later on YouTube, try to join us live some Tuesday afternoon when you can at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. British time, and 10 p.m. Central European. Stay healthy, do all the things. Stay woke, check the sources. Oh my God, we're in election campaign season here in the U.S., and you never know what's going to be happening. So check the sources. And trek well, everybody.